type of problem, that is whether it is overload condition, whether it is a empty sum condition, or whether it is timeout condition, that also starts glowing. Now operator is alerted. He comes to the near the pump room and presses the acknowledge switch to indicate to the system that he has acknowledged the problem and will start taking the action. So after the acknowledgement switch is pressed, the alarm lamp becomes steady. Instead of earlier that was blinking, now it becomes steady, and the buzzer is off. The operator has started taking care of the situation. He has rectified the problem, whatever it is, whether it was overload condition, he has taken care of that, whether there was a problem in the pipeline, he has taken care of that, or whether the sump was empty, he has taken care of that. Whatever it is, he has taken care of that, and to indicate to the system that the fault has been rectified, the operator now presses the reset switch. After the reset switch is pressed, the visual alarm will also become off, and the pump will resume its state. And finally, I can switch between the auto mode and manual mode anytime without any restriction. So I have started the pump in the auto mode. Pump is operating, pump is on. Now I may want to bring the mode to the manual mode, and now I can try starting the pump, stopping the pump using the M-stop switch also. So that is allowed. So whenever we want, we may switch between the two modes, where irrespective of the situation, whether the pump is running or not, we should be able to incorporate that also. So this is in all the requirement for the version 1. Now I have prepared a courses program. So here I have this auto manual switch. There is the manual start, manual stop switch. Lower level of the tank, higher level of the tank, level sensors, sump level sensor, overload condition indicator, acknowledgement input, and the reset input. This is the pump condition. There are the 3 conditions of the abnormal situation, whether it is overload, whether the sump is empty, or whether the timeout situation is there. And one lamp indicator for the alarm and the sound indicator for the alarm. As it is evident that the pump is now the system is now operating in the auto mode. There is water, as TL is 1, that means there is water till the lower level of the tank. That means tank is not empty. So there is no question of starting the pump. Now even if I press the M start switch or M stop switch, oh by the way, it is now stop mode. Yeah. Even if I press the M start switch or the M stop switch, nothing will happen. Now, if I make this 0, what will happen? If the TL is now made 0, what will happen in the auto mode?
Pump will start.
Yeah. See, pump has started. Now the overload condition is there. Overload indicator is giving you light. Alarm has started blinking. This alarm buzzer has started giving you sound. Now operator has come to the near the pump room. Has checked what is the error problem, and after that he presses the acknowledgement switch. Buzzer is off. Alarm lamp is now steady. Now he has taken care of this overload situation. Now it has to indicate to the system that that situation has been rectified, and that has been done by this reset switch. So alarm is off and the pump has started. Now let there is no water in the sump, but pump needs to be on. Okay, sump is empty. So let the water be there. Acknowledgement switch is pressed. Sump is now full. Press the reset switch. Pump is on again. Now let me wait for 8 seconds. So timeout situation has occurred. Lamp is giving blinking indication. Buzzer is giving sound. Acknowledge. Now you press the reset switch to indicate to the system that time whatever problem was there in the pipeline, that has been rectified. I have now brought to the manual mode. I have now stopped the pump using the manual stop. I started the pump in the manual mode. Then I went to the auto mode, and as the tank becomes full, it has been stopped automatically. In the manual mode, you cannot start the pump if the tank is full. But if the tank is not full, I'm not saying tank is empty. If the tank is not full, then only you can start the pump. And there also the overload situation may be there. You acknowledge. Timeout situation should also be there. Some situation should also be there. Okay, I have this much only. কারো কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে? Anybody having any query?
Yes, sir.
বলো।
স্যার যদি মানে এরর হওয়ার পরে যখন এররটা অ্যাকনলেজ করে দেবে বা তারপরে রিসেট করে দেবে, তখন টাইম আউট মানে আগে যতটা টাইম হয়েছিল তারপর থেকে 8 সেকেন্ড কাউন্ট করবে না?
আমার এখানে যেটা করা আছে তারপর থেকে 8 সেকেন্ড ধরবে।
আচ্ছা,
তারপর থেকে 8 সেকেন্ড ধরবে। না তো যেটা হবে ধরো টাইম আউটের সময় চলে গেছে,
তখন আর ইয়ে হবে না, ঠিক হবে না,
স্টার্টই হবে না।
আর ম্যানুয়াল মোডে মানে টিএলটিএইচ দুটো অন থাকলেও পাম্পটা মানে একবার যদি স্টার্ট হয়ে থাকে মানে এম স্টপ দিয়ে স্টপ করতে হবে।
ধরে নিচ্ছি কি, মানে আমি ধরে নিচ্ছি ম্যানুয়াল মোডে যখন অপারেট করছো, অপারেটরের কাছাকাছি আছে, ও ট্যাঙ্ক থেকে জল যখন পড়ছে ঝরঝর করে, তখন সেটা শুনে পাম্পটা বন্ধ করবে বা তার আগে বন্ধ করবে। যদি চাও, জানি না কেএম যদি বলেন ওই হাই হয়ে গেলে ট্যাঙ্ক লেভেল হাই পর্যন্ত জল পৌঁছে গেলে অটোমেটিকলি বন্ধ করার যদি গল্প করতে হয়, স্যার যদি বলেন তাহলে সেটাও করে দেওয়া যায়। কোন সেটাই করার দরকার আছে?
আগে সোজা দিয়ে শুরু হোক, বেশি জটিল করলে। হ্যাঁ,
এবার এটা স্যার দেখো তোমাদের ছোট ছোট কতগুলো পার্ট করে করে স্যার দিয়েছেন প্রবলেমটা, তোমরা সেইভাবে এক এক করে অ্যাপ্রোচ করো, একসঙ্গে পুরোটা না করার চেষ্টা না করে সেটাও করতে পারো। আর কারো কোনো প্রবলেম? প্রতীক, তোমার কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে?
না না,
ঠিক আছে, তাহলে আমি কলকাতা আমি তা বন্ধ করে দেবো। তাহলে কেএম স্যার ওই লেভেল সুইচের ওই গল্পটা একটু দেখিয়ে দেবেন তাহলে।
না, আমার তো 2 মিনিটের একটা ভিডিও, যে ইউটিউব ভিডিও, আর কিছু নেই।
দেখো, আর কিছু দেখানোর থাকলে বলো, আর কোনো কোয়েরি থাকলে বলো, ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশন ওয়াইজ বা অন্য কিছু ওয়াইজ।
বলছি টাইমারটা দেখান একবার।
কোনটা?
টাইম আউট
টাইম আউটটা অটোমোডে দেখাই না ম্যাডাম, কোনটা দেখাবো?
দেখান, দুটো দেখান।
অ্যাকনোলেজ করলাম, রিসেট করলাম, পাম্প বন্ধ হলো, এবার জল উঠছে। হ্যাঁ, বলো এবার কি প্রশ্ন?
ঠিক আছে।
আচ্ছা,
এই সময় একবার সামটা দিন।
এই সময়
হুম হুম, ঠিক আছে।
সামটা এই প্রবলেমটা দেবে তখনই যখন হচ্ছে কিনা পাম্পটা স্টার্ট করার রিকোয়ারমেন্ট অ্যারাইজ করেছে।
মানে পাম্পটা যেমন চলছে।
হ্যাঁ, যেমন এখন যদি অটো মোডে আমি যদি এম স্টার্ট প্রেস করি তখন দেবে।
হুম
এটা আমার ভার্সন না, তোমাদের ভার্সন এর থেকে অনেক বেটার হবে। আর কোনো ডাউট কারোর?
আচ্ছা, একবার অটোমোটা একবার অন করুন। এবার কোনো ওভারলোড বা কোনো একটা এরর দিন এটা।
তারপর
এবার ম্যানুয়ালটাকে অটোতে নিয়ে যান, মোডটা।
এখন অটোতে আছে।
হ্যাঁ, এটাকে ম্যানুয়ালে নিয়ে যান।
হ্যাঁ,
এম স্টপ।
না আমার তো পাম্প তো অফ হয়েই রয়েছে, এখন তো স্টপ কাজ করবে না।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, মানে এররের সময়
সিচুয়েশনের জন্য অফ হয়ে রয়েছে।
হুম। এবার ওভারলোড মানে ঠিক করে অ্যাকনলেজ করে ঠিক করে দেন এই দুটো।
দাঁড়াও আমি আরেকবার করি। এটা বলছিলে?
না, ওই মানে এররের সময় কোনো ম্যানুয়াল ইনপুট বলছিলাম।
আচ্ছা।
এরর এই সময়টা।
দেখছি।
এবার ইনস্টল।
মানে স্টপ ওই কন্ডিশনটাও নিয়ে রেখেছে।
মানে এরারটা দেখাবে কিন্তু স্টার্ট করতে গেলে মানে ওই স্টেটেই চলে যাবে যেটা ম্যানুয়ালে দেবে।
না সেটা আমার ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশন হয়েছে, এবার তোমাদের অন্য কিছু হতে পারে।
হুম।
আচ্ছা এখানে আমি একটা জাস্ট করেছি, এটা হয়তো তোমাদের কাজেও লাগতে পারে। সেটা হচ্ছে আমি কিন্তু ওই সেট রিসেট কয়েলটা ডাইরেক্টলি পাম্পে পাঠাইনি। আমি সেট রিসেট কয়েলটা ইউজ করেছি ফর ফাইন্ডিং আউট হোয়াট শুড বি দ্য পাম্প কন্ডিশন। That means the requirement for whether the pump should be started or not. That I have set or reset using proper whether in the auto mode pump should be on, or in the manual mode pump should be on, or in the auto mode pump should be off, or the manual mode pump should be off from that one. And the actual pump is being initiated by the pump condition and absence of abnormal operation or the abnormal situation. That means this ending that I have used to start the pump. So why is that required? Now, in case my abnormal situation is rectified, in that case, as the pump condition is memorizing what should happen to the pump, whether the pump should have been on or should have been off, so that condition is retained in this pump condition. So that memory will be useful to resume the pump state in the previous condition as soon as the abnormality has been rectified. So that I have done, but you may do it in your own way also. So আমার এই কোর্সেস প্রোগ্রাম নিয়ে কারো কোনো জিজ্ঞাসা কিছু আছে? Implementation wise কারো কোনো ডাউট আছে? Anybody is having any doubt regarding the implementation or the requirement? If no, then I will stop my presentation. কারো কোনো ডাউট নেই তো? কোনো কোয়ারি নেই তো? দিগন্ত ফাইনালি?
না স্যার।
ঠিক আছে, বলে আমি স্টপ করছি।
ঠিক আছে। This is just a simple animation which shows level switches, which BD just discussed about in work. There are different types of level switches. This will just discuss the simplest of all level switches, which is called a float type level switch. So one thing is important. What is the empty level? It doesn't mean that the tank should be completely empty. It doesn't mean that 0% level is empty. It could be any level that you define as empty. And similarly, what is tank full? It doesn't mean that the tank has to be 100% full to qualify as tank full. You could define any level towards the top of the tank as tank full. Now, what is tank empty and what is tank full in this case would depend upon the position of the two level switches. What a level switch does is, as the very name suggests, it's a switch. That means it has a two-state output. The output is in the form of a contact, just like a normal switch. The contact could either be closed or the contact is open. Now, a normal switch is manually operated. A level switch is operated by liquid level. That is why it's called a level switch. Now, you've heard about the terms NC and NO. NC stands for normally closed. NO stands for normally open. You've heard about these terms in the context of a push button. You've heard about these terms in the context of a relay. In relay, you have normally open, normally closed contacts. In a push button, you have normally open and normally closed contacts. Now, you just got to remember that what does this word normal signify? What is normally open? Okay, what is normal? Normal means that whenever the energizing input or whatever activates this particular device, in a relay, what activates a relay? It is power applied to the relay coil. So whenever you're not providing the input, whenever you're not providing the input activation, that is regarded as the normal state. So if a contact is closed in the absence of the input activation, that contact is normally closed. If a contact is open in the absence of the input activation, then that is normally open. So in the context of a relay, if you do not apply power to the relay coil, any contact that is closed is normally closed. Any contact that is open is normally open. In a push button, how do you activate the push button? By manually pressing the lever. So that is the input activation. So when you're not pressing a push button, any contact that is closed is normally closed. Any contact that is open is normally open. So normal is when the input activation is not applied. So in the context of a level switch, the very name says that it is a switch operated by liquid level. So how is the switch activated? By liquid level. So when the liquid level rises to the position of the switch is activated and the state of the contact changes. So what is normal? When the input activation is not present. That is when the liquid level does not exist in the position of the switch. So in the absence of a liquid, any contact that is closed is normally closed. In the absence of a liquid, any contact in the level switch that is open is normally open. So this terminology should be important. So in a level switch, in the absence of liquid level, any contact that is closed is an NC contact. Any contact that is open is an NO contact. There are level switches which provide both. You can have an NC and an NO contact at the same point of time. Just like in relays, you have a common terminal, you have one NO terminal, you have one NC terminal. Now it is up to you which of the two contacts you're going to use, whether you're going to use a normally closed contact. For example, in level, in the absence of liquid level, the NC contact is closed. So when the liquid reaches the position of the switch, the NC contact breaks, opens, and the NO contact closes, or it becomes a closed circuit. So it's up to you whether you're going to use an NC contact or NO contact. Depends upon your choice, depends upon your requirements. Now, to this particular video, we are just focusing.
The last point level sensor that we will talk about is a float switch.
Just interrupting this. See, the part that is hanging is a float. Float, why? Because the very name suggests is made of a material which would float on the surface of the liquid, whatever be the liquid. In this example, the liquid is water. This portion, see, this particular portion is a wall of the tank. In this case, the tank is a tank where you're storing water. This is an overhead tank or the underground tank, which is also called a sump. So the position of the switch, it's installed at this particular point. You could install this higher. You could also install this lower. So it depends upon the mechanical installation of the switch. What does the switch do? It basically senses whether or not you have liquid at the position of the switch. If there is liquid at the position of the switch, or if there's liquid above, that is one state of the switch. If there is no liquid at the position of the switch, there's another state of the switch. As you can see, there's no liquid at the position of the switch. This float is hanging down. Why? Because of its weight. Now, as the liquid level rise, you can guess what would happen. This starts floating on the surface of the liquid, and the float starts moving up. When it reaches this horizontal position, an electrical contact is either made or broken inside this particular circuit. We'll just see that in this animation. Look at this switch. I was trying to freeze this particular point. Now you do not have liquid in the position of the switch, at the height of the switch, at the level of the switch, at the elevation of the switch. You can call it anything. Look at the state of the contact. So in the absence of the liquid, in the absence of the energizing input, the contact is open. The contact is broken. So this becomes a normally open. Why normal? Because the liquid level is not present at the position of the switch. So in the absence of the input, in the absence of the liquid level which energizes the switch, the contact is open. So this becomes a normally open type level switch. It could be just the opposite. In the absence of liquid level, the contact could be closed, and when the liquid level rises to the position of the switch, this could become open. That would become an NC type level switch. এটি দেখাবার ছিল। So and just to make a very brief mention of what happens next, in this case that you've understood, you don't have the actual process, right? So you don't have a tank, you don't have liquids, you don't have a pump. Fine, that is accepted. So all the inputs you've got to apply manually. For example, the signal that would be generated by the two level switches on the overhead tank, the signal that is generated by the level switch in the underground tank, everything has to be manually applied so that you can cross-check your logic, so that you can cross-check whether your controller is working fine, whether your controller is working the way it is supposed to work. So all inputs are manual. Because here in part 1, in version 1, all you're trying to do is you're trying to design a controller, you're trying to implement a controller within the PLC, and then you're cross-checking whether the controller works before you're actually going to connect this to the process. You can't connect an untested controller, a controller which has not been properly evaluated, directly to a process, because if it's not working fine, it could have a dangerous situation within the actual system. So the standard procedure, you need to develop your logic, you need to develop your controller in this particular example, and then you got to test it thoroughly, whether it behaves the way it is supposed to behave. How do you do it? You apply all the inputs that is supposed to come from the process manually. That's why BD had so many switches for the lower sensor, the upper sensor, the sensor in the lower tank, which is called the sump. Then you have a overload sensor and all that. So all that is done manually. Now, once you are through, once you have established this particular controller, implemented this controller, and you find that it's working the right way, the next part of the next version is that we'll try to develop a model of the process, or rather, to be more specific, mathematical model of the process. What's important in this lockdown? We do not have a physical process. If it was physical classes in our lab, we have a small physical process to implement this. But since now we do not have a physical process, so how do you test this controller out? Once you have established the controller, once you have made the controller, what we'll do is we will write a second program which would behave like a process. That is what is called a mathematical model. That means it's a set of mathematical equations. It's a program which behaves exactly like a process. So now that is an important approach these days. You've heard about simulation. It's very widely used in certain applications. For example, say when you're training a pilot for a commercial aircraft, not military aircraft, how do you train the pilot? You just can't put a pilot on an empty plane and ask him to fly for hours and hours. You understand? A aircraft of that particular size, there's a huge amount of fuel that is consumed. So there will be a huge amount of cost for training that particular pilot. So one, that is not economically feasible. And second, if you put that particular pilot on an aircraft, obviously it's got to be an empty aircraft. You cannot risk the life of people because as a trainee pilot, it makes a mistake and the aircraft comes down. Who's going to face the consequences? Second is, when you're training this pilot, you cannot create abnormal conditions. For example, say what happens if there's a sudden pressure fluctuation? What happens, say, if one of the engine catches fire? What happens, say, if the visibility is very poor, you cannot see the runaway when you're trying to land? These are abnormal conditions. But you got to train your pilot for such abnormal conditions. So the standard practice nowadays, whenever you're training commercial pilots, is you have simulators. It feels exactly identical to flying an aircraft. I mean, you've got a room-like structure which has all degrees of freedom. That means it can rotate, it can move, bend upwards, it can bend downwards, exactly the way an aircraft moves. And there a computer program is run in the front of that particular training pilot, which simulates all kinds of conditions. You can have one of your engine on fire, you can have your landing wheel has stuck up somewhere, you can't land, you cannot see the airport, visibility is very poor. You can have all sorts of conditions that's generated by the computer program. And you can actually train the pilot at almost no cost. It's just the cost of running your program for all possible conditions, which is not practically possible. So such simulators are extensively used for training commercial pilots. This has now become a standard practice in training operators who are new to a particular process plant. Instead of training them in a plant, because it's risky, if they do something wrong, you have an abnormal condition in the plant which you cannot possibly afford. So what you do is, again, you have extensive simulators, computer programs which behave exactly the same way as your plant behaves. These are called simulation models, and the technical term or the common term for such systems are called digital clones. You know what a clone is? It's a copy. It's an identical copy. Digital means it's implemented in a computer. It's a software program. And what is a digital clone of what? A digital clone of the process. That means you're writing a program which is a clone, which is a replica of process behavior. So there you can put in your operator. You can simulate all kinds of dangerous situations which may practically never arise. And you can actually train it to face such abnormal conditions and react to abnormal conditions. So it's become a standard practice even in process industries, the way you train your operators. Now, I'm saying all this at the word of Bhumika Ijana because that's a part of the next, and that's the second part of version 2. What you do there is you write a very simple this one program which will behave like this particular system where you have a tank, you have a liquid flowing into it if the pump is operating, have a liquid flowing out of it if the liquid is being consumed, And you have some kind of sensors which measure the liquid level. So that is part 2, that is version 2 of this particular program. But before we get to that, the first part that you need to do is carry out or implement the controller, implement the logic which just BD described, and BD also gave a demonstration of that working. So that is from my side. Now you can just sign in, give your attendances, and if anyone wants to give any demo, you're welcome to do that.
Sir, I want to give demo. Hello.
man.
Sir, I want to give demo.
Yeah, give it.
Yes.
যাদের ডেমো নেই তারা সাইন করে মানে অ্যাটেন্ডেন্স দিয়ে চলে যেতে পারো, দ্যাটস ইওর চয়েস।
একটা রিটেনটিভ পালস টাইমার বানিয়েছি, হোল্ড আর রিসেট দিয়ে, মানে উইথ হোল্ড আর রিসেট কন্ট্রোল। সেটা কি দেখাবো?
হ্যাঁ, দেখাতে পারো। এরা এই কে আগে বললো জানি, মায়াঙ্ক বোধহয় বললো নাকি, মায়াঙ্ক ঝা।
মায়াঙ্ক ঝা।
হ্যাঁ, দেখিনি, তারপর দেখো।
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, which one you want to show?